Welcome to The Point of View. This is your favorite current affairs show on television. On The Point of View, we pick the right topics, we get the right guests, we ask them the relevant questions on issues that matter to you, and you usually get some useful insights on the program. My name is Bernard Avle. It's an interactive show. It's live, and if you're watching and you see something you like or don't like, send us a comment. You can either send that via the WhatsApp number on the screen, or if you're watching on any of the social media platforms, whether it's Facebook or Twitter, feel free to join the stream with your conversations. So, over the weekend, I was at Cape Coast to witness for myself the NPP's launch of their manifesto. So when I come back, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. It's a 3-part show, and stay tuned, fasten your seatbelt, you're going to enjoy it. Don't forget, the Point of View is brought to you by Airtel Tigo. Life is simple. So the NPP, after the razzmatazz of the launch of the manifesto, gave us copies of this. It's about 200 pages. Very interesting document titled Leadership of Service, Protecting Our Progress, Transforming Ghana for All. So I'm going to do 3 things. I'm going to give you a quick overview because I don't think you have time to read all the 200 pages. I've read it for you. I'll summarize it into 8 slides. Simple, the promises. Then when I'm done, I'll talk to our head of research who's been reviewing the manifesto, comparing it to previous editions, and basically coming up with some interesting parallels and differences. Then later on, I'll speak to one of the government thinkers. He is at the top of one of the most important institutions implementing massive infrastructure projects. So GIADEC is really the vehicle that will deliver the bauxite cyanohydride project. And the gentleman sitting atop that will help me explain where they'll get the money for all these nice promises. He's joining me in the last part of the show. He's called Micheal Ansah. So he's the former UK chairman of the NPP, but now he runs GIADEC. So he's my guest as well. So it's a 3-in-1 show, and let's go straight for it. So first thing I'm going to do is to say that there are 2 things we noticed in the week leading up to the launch of the manifesto. So Dr. Bawumia Tuesday addressed the nation speaking about infrastructure. It's very clear this election is not just about promises, it's also about records. And I think the infrastructure record of the 2 leading political parties will be very, very key. Why do we say this? After Dr. Bawumia's 2-hour presentation on Tuesday, he launched their website. Take a look at the website. It's very heavy on infrastructure. They've listed projects they've done, 18,075 infrastructure projects. It keeps updating daily. The last time we checked, it was 17,000, so it's moved by 1,000. Now, did they finish those 1,000 in the past week? We don't know. We'll find out. 9,241 completed, 8,834 ongoing, and then they have district-specific kinds of infrastructure. So, believe it or not, this campaign will be about records. Now, Mahama has done 4 years. Akufo-Addo would have done 4 years. So you can compare. Because now, although this is not an official NDC website, some sponsors or sympathizers of John Mahama also have a website very similar to the NPP's Project Leave It Tracker. Take a look at it. There you have it. It's a digital green book. It's under construction, we are told. We're told that the party would launch their manifesto on Monday, the 31st. I'm told this probably will be ready by then. Again, you can compare. If you scroll, you'll notice they also have infrastructure projects listed. In fact, there's a place called Project by Sector: aviation, energy, factories, hospitals, housing, intervention projects, markets, office facilities, railway. So it's really a comparison of records. And so by Tuesday, or by tomorrow week, which is Tuesday, you can put NPP on the left, NDC on the right, and compare across sectors. So it's going to be a very interesting conversation about infrastructure projects. And this is going to be about comparison of records. And one of the things we will do is to go and ascertain. One of the things both parties haven't done is they haven't really geotagged the project. So it's very difficult to physically locate all the projects. They describe where they are, they tell you which districts they are in, but geotagging would have been very useful, particularly because we are in a digital era. So that's the first point. Second point, let me give you an 8-slide summary of the 200 pages because I know you won't have time to read everything. So what the NPP does is they give you 75% of this document is about what they've done. So it's actually only 25% that's about what they want to do. Okay. Now, let me talk about some of the sectors they highlighted. Education is a key sector they highlighted in terms of what they want to do. As for what they say they've done, you know better than I do whether they've done it or not. So I'm not going to spend too much time on that. But these are the manifesto highlights for the key sectors of the economy. So there's education. Big one, cancel guarantor system for students' loan application for all tertiary students, except trainee nurses and teachers. Don't forget, for a long time, Bawumia has been shouting about teacher training allowance, teacher training allowance. So for nurses and teacher trainees, the allowance is sorted. They don't need a loan. Every other person needs a loan. How are they going to get it? The guarantor has been a difficult thing. NPP says they'll give you loan without guarantee. Tertiary students, what do you think? Implementing 290 million, they call it a Gallop project to improve quality of education in 10,000 low-performing schools. That's another big one. Made in Ghana digital services pre-installed with digital content for SHS students. These are just highlights of the manifesto. There are lots of things they promise. We're just picking some of the highlights in the various sectors. Expand infrastructure to increase access to professional legal education. Now, legal education is big. In fact, by the time we are watching this on Tuesday, lots of law students will be writing to enter Makola. Makola is the only place you can study your professional law course. NPP says they would expand infrastructure, and then they'll complete the provision of free Wi-Fi. We'll get into that later. Let me talk about health. That's the second sector. Quick summary on what the party wants to do about the health sector. Don't forget, it's been big. This year is a year of COVID. So health has been brought to the fore like no other year in terms of what is happening. Then I'll take you to transportation. Transportation is interesting. They said they'll relaunch the Metro Mass transport system. Now, that suggests that the Metro Mass is in a comatose state. Launch road maintenance infrastructure as a source of job creation. What's happening to NAPCO? Is there no module in NAPCO for road? But that's what they want to do. Construct new airport in Cape Coast. People are asking about this. This is actually on page 160 of the manifesto. It's there. Because there are conflicting reports. Somebody says Bawumia said he would build a Cape Coast airport. He thought it up whilst he was there. Another report says it's 6 months ago. It's actually in the manifesto. It's on page 160. I have it here. It says, page 159 talks about rails, road, ports, and harbors. And then if you come to page 160, a new airport in Cape Coast is listed there. There you have it. You can check. So they'll do Cape Coast. Ghana, Burkina Faso rail line. Harbor in Cape Coast. That's also there. Feasibility study of rail line between Kasua and Accra. That's the promise. Feasibility study. Social protection. There are 3 key promises. Operationalize the aging bill. Ensure enactment and implementation of the affirmative action bill. Create a single registry for social protection programs linked to the Ghana card. Health. Construct 111 health facilities, including 2 psychiatric hospitals. President mentioned 88, it's been upgraded to 111. We spoke to Kweku Ajimabeno on the Congress grounds. He says they have started work on this, 111. They won't finish any before the election, but they say if they win another term, they will finish 111 health facilities, which include district hospitals, regional hospitals, etc. They will construct infectious disease centers, similar to what has been done at Ghana East. Telemedicine will be a focus, and then support traditional medicine development. Housing is big. What did they say? 4 key things. There's something they call the NRAS. It was one of the big 3 for Nathan. If you watch CNR, it says the housing one. They're going to help people get loans for rent advance payment. They call it the National Rental Assistance Scheme. Provide low-interest loans to Ghanaians to pay rent advance. These loans will be repaid on a monthly basis. They will build low-income housing for rent. They call something rent to own and also outright purchase. They will establish a Ghana Housing Authority and a National Housing and Mortgage Finance Company to oversee building of more housing units. They said they'll create land banks. Now, we're told this particular promise was in the previous manifesto as well. Create land banks to provide infrastructure in partnership with landowners. Let me run through governance. Again, there was a claim that there was no mention of corruption in the manifesto. There actually is. Under the governance section, they talk about anti-corruption bodies. 6 things they say they will do. Build consensus towards constitutional amendments to allow for election of MMDCs on a partisan basis. Wow, this is back here. Oh God, this was such a big one. What happened to it? It's back in here in a different shape. Nathan will tell us whether it's a new one or it's a transmogrified one. Integrate all major government initiatives into core deliverables of MMDAs. I don't know what that means. I'm sure my guests will explain that. Improve financing of governance and anti-corruption ministries, departments and agencies. Assist National Media Commission to implement coordinated mechanism for safety of journalists. I love this one. I love this one. Journalists will be safe. Don't beat us anymore. Enact and implement a broadcasting bill. And of course, provide resources for RTI to operationalize the Right to Information Law. Don't forget, the bill exists, the law exists, but we need a year to raise the money. Let's talk about industry and one more sector, and then I'll go to my first guest. Now, the industry promises are 5. We picked 5 out. Support made in Ghana products, promote manufacturing of digital devices locally, produce at least half of Ghana's sugar needs here. I don't know whether to use a Commander Sugar Factory or another one. Don't forget, they launched 2 factories by the weekend, Eco Juice and Casa de Europa. Promote local production of pharmaceuticals, emphasize assembly of home appliances in Ghana, electric fans, air conditioners, etc. Let me end with sports. Now, the NPP government said they would build a multi-purpose youth center for excellence in the 6 new regions. They will construct a National Olympic Stadium complex. Wow. What's happened to Kaneshi Sports Complex? Are you finished? Upgrade the National Sports College into National High Performance Training Center and introduce a Zongo Youth Football Hunt. So here is a quick overview of some of the promises they made. The other sectors, like creative arts. Let me just end with creative arts. That was quite interesting. In creative arts, they said they would do a number of things. And I'm just flipping through on my screen. Creative arts, set up creative arts fund to support artists, construct theaters in Takoradi and Tamale, construct large recording studios in Accra, Takoradi and Tamale, build a digital platform for artists to market their products, and construct one of the world's biggest convention and exhibition centers in the world. Here's a quick summary of what is in here. This is the 25% at the end. Now let me talk to head of research at Citi. He's been chewing the manifesto, Baba. How many times have you been going through this document?
Wow. Since Saturday night. This is going over.
Wow. So you've read the whole thing?
Yes, I've read at least the part concerning the promise. A lot of the other parts, you'll find them in the 2016 manifesto. Yes, so I've gone through.
So I have 4 questions for you. First question, what were your main observations? Just going through the document.
Well, kind of interesting. Now, to put this into context, we will go back 8 years.
Okay.
Now, you have to look at the evolution of the various manifestos and how they've been themed. Mm-hmm. In 2012, the NPP's manifesto was titled Transforming Lives, Transforming Ghana.
Okay.
Now, this was in response to Professor Mills's first term.
Okay.
Of course, he passed on in July, but this was the response to his first term between 2008 and between 2009 and 2012. Now, that manifesto had 6 chapters.
Okay.
Right? It was 115 pages long. And a striking thing was that, that was just it, 6 chapters,
115 pages
long.
Okay.
Then in 2016, the NPP tagged this manifesto Change, an agenda for jobs. Mm-hmm. Now that responded to the demands of the time, because if you remember, lots of people were crying for jobs. They were complaining that jobs were not sustainable. They were struggling to make it, especially the young people. Mm-hmm. So this manifesto was designed to respond to the times when President Mahama was in power. Now they called it a plan to create prosperity and a plan to create equal opportunity for all.
How many chapters?
Now this was 18 chapters. It was 3 times the size of the previous manifesto.
Wow.
Right? Now the other bit of that, if you dissect the 18 chapters, things like foreign affairs, chieftaincy, religious affairs, civil society, sports, tourism, arts and culture, and local government all had dedicated chapters.
Wow.
So it kind of gave you an inkling as to what the NPP had been doing in that 4-year spell between 2012 and 2016.
So this is the manifesto that brought them to power?
Yes.
They tripled the number of chapters. Yes, they tripled
the number of chapters and gave certain chapters their standalone pages.
Wow.
Just to show how extensively they had gone around thinking of what they had wanted
18 chapters. How many pages?
That manifesto was 195 pages long.
Wow.
So a huge jump from 115 to 195.
That means 2016 they really came.
Yes. Then we come to this particular one on our hands, the 2020 manifesto that the NPP has called Leadership of Service, Protecting Our Progress, Transforming Ghana for All.
Leadership of Service, Protecting Our Progress.
Yes.
There you have it.
So there you have it.
They also have The Battle is Still the Lord.
Yes, it looks like that's the everlasting theme.
And then 4 more to do more.
4 more to do more. Now, this is a manifesto that is largely calling out to the electorate for continuity. Keep us in power and then we'll continue the good work we've done. Now, this manifesto is 192 pages long in terms of text alone. So the text or the readable parts are 192 pages overall. But if you look at it carefully...
Sorry, you're saying that even though the number of leaves is over 200...
Yes, the readable parts are 192
But you don't like the
pages.
pictures?
No, I mean...
So it ends on page 192?
Yeah, 192.
So there are lots of photos in here?
You have lots of photos and all of that, just to back whatever government is saying.
Interesting.
Now, the part that has the promises looking ahead to the next term, should the NPP get retained, is only 40 pages.
Oh, 40 pages of promises?
Between 150 pages, 151 and pages 191.
So 192 minus 40, 152 pages are full of reports of what they've done.
What we've done, and
wow.
they label it clearly, accounting to the people and all of that.
So it's fundamentally different from the 2016 one, because 2016 one is 196 pages of promises.
Yes, 195 pages of promises. We'll do this, we'll do that. Analysis of the challenges, putting things into context, providing background.
So even though this manifesto is the same size as the previous one,
you find that
the promise is just 1/4.
Just 1/4 of it.
Amazing.
Just 1/4 of that.
Wow.
Now, if you go to the document again, I take you back to 2012. Now, you know that the NPP is talking a lot about industry, we're assembling cars and all of that. And Dr. Bamia even said that in the next 4 years, should they get to stay in power, they want to upgrade to appliances and all of it. It will strike you to know that the 2016 manifesto does not make a mention of the word automotive, automobile, or cars.
The word automotive, automobile, or cars doesn't appear in the previous manifesto.
It doesn't. Those words do not appear.
Hey, so where did they get the vim to do the car thing from?
I can't tell, but I'm sure.
Okay, my next guest will answer.
Yes.
So please prepare.
And then if you look at this new manifesto, the word digital appears 64 times.
Are you serious?
The word digital appears 64 times.
64 times?
64 times in this document that is right in front of you.
It was prepared by Dr. Dijimia.
Yes, and once I did the word count, and that struck me, you could tell that
the word digital comes up 64 times.
64 times across several areas. You know,
then
education.
Dr. Bamia is really. Although the promises are only on 40 pages.
Yes, on 40 pages. He mentions the word digital
64 times.
Different times.
Wow.
So those are some of the very interesting.
So can we call it the digital manifesto?
Probably.
Wow.
It's a manifesto that's hinging a lot on a lot of digital things, free Wi-Fi, you know, expanding that in schools, getting students to do, you know, especially if
so those are your opening observations.
Yeah, the opening observations, just looking at, just analyzing content.
My second question, what is new in this manifesto?
A number of things, and I'll put them under several sectors. So if you start with education, the biggest one, like you mentioned, the student loans without the guarantor. It's a huge departure from what already exists, where you need the guarantor under the SNIT and all of that. So that's new.
So that's not in any previous manifesto?
Not in any previous
Provide
manifesto.
student loan without a guarantor?
Yes.
If you're watching and you're a student, tell me what you think about this promise.
And then the other bit that I found that was very new, support 10,000 low-performing schools across the country.
That's new.
That's very new. Okay, that's very. Now this is captured under the Ghana Accountability for Learning Outcomes. And there's a $210 million fund just set up to take care of these 10,000 low-performing schools. And I remember asking the Deputy Education Minister on Saturday, what will be the outcomes? How will they know that they've done well or not? He said, one, they are looking at the number of children who start primary and get to the end of the process.
Okay.
The number of passes that will get at the end, say, of the BC. Looking at these 10,000 selected schools, they'll try and look at all these things to see if all this money that is being pumped in is making sense or not.
Okay.
The other bit under education which caught my attention.
Which is non-existent.
Non-existent. 16 model schools in the Zongo communities. They built 16 model SHS
in Zongo communities in every region.
So across in Ghana, we'll have 16, one in each region.
Oh,
one in each region.
One. I thought 16 per Zongo.
That
would be serious.
So that's
because there are over 200 Zongos in the Eastern region alone.
So that's under education.
All right.
Of course, all the other things have to do with continuation of the things they've started.
So for education, you noticed 3 new things.
Student loans, supporting the low-performing basic schools, and then building 16 new model SHS.
What else is new?
In health, they called it the Agenda 111. Previously,
Agenda 111.
It was tagged Agenda 88. If the number sounds familiar, it's because the president mentioned he was going to build 88 new hospitals.
During one of his updates?
Yes, one of the COVID updates. Now, that number has been upgraded to 111.
So this is also a new one?
It's new. What's in this? 100-bed hospitals, 6 new regional hospitals, obviously to take care of the 6 new regions, a center for disease control. The Western region will be getting its own new regional hospital.
Wow.
Now, the Ifiang Kwanzaa Hospital is going to get upgraded.
Okay.
Plus, we'll be getting 2 new psychiatric hospitals, and the existing ones will all be upgraded.
So this promise has not existed in any previous manifesto
at all.
Agenda 111.
Yes.
So it's huge for health.
It's huge, yes. And then you go to housing. The biggest one, like you mentioned, the National Rental Allowance Assistance Scheme. Landlords, landladies will have to register under a scheme. It has a seed fund of 100 million cedis. People will have to apply to get the loans. Soft loans, you pay monthly, but the advance is paid directly to the landlord.
So the money won't come to.
It will not come to you.
We, the people looking for money to rent, to go to the landlord.
The landlord or landlady who have to be registered under the scheme.
So landlord have to register.
Yes.
That they want to. Wow, this is interesting.
Yes.
This is new.
This is new. This is very new.
Under housing.
This under housing.
That's the main new thing you saw now. Anything else you saw which is not there?
Yeah, and the arts and culture, like you mentioned, building of the recording studios, and among the musicians going back and forth.
I'm sure you'll be happy.
Record more music.
A lot of people don't know, like Nathan raps. One of the shows before D2R, after the election, later will come and rap here. Okay. He's a massive rapper. What's your latest song called?
My latest song is Be Mine. Came out a few months ago.
Fantastic.
We look at that. And then, of course, under sports, if you look at sports and inner cities development, there's the Zongo Youth Football Talent Hunt. That's quite new, and it's quite interesting how government wants to find more talents. Now, government has tied this to the astroturfs that are being built in the inner cities, and they feel that those are the platforms on which these talents will be found.
AstroTurf thing, government wants to continue.
Yes, they want to continue. And then if you go
because
to
it wasn't in the previous manifesto.
It was captured, well, not directly, but when the inner cities ministry was put together, then you had the minister Mustafa Hamid going around and getting these.
So it's called the Zongo Football Talent Hunt.
Yes.
Wow. Hey, them poor man will be happy.
And then under transportation, you have the transport sector recapitalization project.
Transport sector
recapitalization.
That's also new.
That's also new.
What's that?
What will happen under this is that those who have old Trotsky's, the trotros that are old and are not in good shape, under this scheme, they'll be sent in. The transport owners will get new ones, and they'll pay over a period the lease to own type of arrangement.
So you bring your old Trotsky or trotro.
Yes, trotro.
And then you
get a new
come for a new
one, and then you pay off as you make money or as you get the proceeds. So,
but is that really new?
Well, not necessarily, because if you go back to the mid-90s, you know, in my digging, and I've been told by some senior people that such a scheme existed somewhat in the mid-90s.
But it's a new promise.
This is a new promise, you know. So
those are the new things.
Those are
now, which promises have been repeated? Ditto.
Well, there's one
ditto repeated.
There's one that will strike you. Now, on page 171.
Page 171
of the 2016 manifesto, and it's not here.
Okay.
Right now, if you can open page 164.
Hey, Charlie, what you need? So 164 here.
164. Tell me, there's a promise under tourism, arts, and culture. Talks about the Creative Arts Fund.
Yes. So it says, set up National Folklore Board, set up Creative Arts Council to organize. And the third one, inaugurate National Film Authority, drafted a Creative Arts Bill.
It's supposed to be a Creative Arts Fund.
Creative Arts Fund.
Yes.
I'm looking for it. Completed. Yes. In our next term of office, we'll make the creative arts industry a major growth pole in our Ghana Beyond Aid agenda. We'll set up a Creative Arts Fund support artists.
That promise in that form was in the 2016 manifesto.
Ditto.
It was there.
They lifted it and
we'll
pasted
set up a Creative Arts Fund. So that has not been done, and it's an admission. Once it has appeared, it's an admission that it's not being worked on.
Okay.
It will be done. The other things that appear in similar iterations, for example, under housing, the concept of the land banks got mentioned in the 2020 manifesto.
It's repeated here.
It's also in the 2016 manifesto. If you go through the 2016 manifesto, the document said government would partner private sector to develop industries, including pharmaceuticals and other things. If you go on page 153
here
of the 2020 manifesto, you find very similar ideas that government would want to implement using the private sector. And pharmaceuticals will also make sense.
Under industrialization.
Yes, under industrialization.
So it's a repeat.
Yes, it's a repeat or an iteration. If you go to health, for example, they mention strengthening the CHIPS compounds. That's on page 119 of the 2016 one, and on page 159 of this current document, it says the government will work through the development agencies so that we could have more
CHIPS compounds.
Yes.
Same promise.
Yes. And then under agriculture, that I found really interesting. Now, in 2016, government said it was going to create one extension farmer right? One extension officer to 500 farmers. That was the standard UN ratio.
1 to 500.
Yes, that was what it wanted to do. In the 2020 manifesto, it says that, oh, we've recruited 2,700 extension officers, but we need to strengthen that bit, strengthen the relationship between extension officers and farmers. So it tells you that that ratio probably has not been attained yet, the 1 to 500, and it makes
so they have changed the things.
Yes, they're giving us the number of extension officers that have been recruited, 2,700.
But they are not repeating the ratio.
Yes, they are not repeating the ratio, but you can tell that that ratio has still not been attained properly, and government wants to do more work on that
similar.
Yes, a very, very similar thing. That's on page 153 of this current document.
So this thing, how many times did you read it? Charlie? Hey, Nathan.
And several other things, building of theaters. Of course, the update is that one has been built in Koforidua. The one in Kumasi is under construction. But it's a bit of a continuation from the 2016 manifesto where they said they would build theaters all over the country.
Wow. This is awesome. I really have enjoyed this. I need to do something, though. There are quite a number of promises in the manifesto which we have to interrogate.
Yes, of course.
In terms of feasibility and
whether
timelines.
They exist, timelines, all of that.
And to do that, I'm going to bring in a former chairman of the NPP for the UK, and who is also the CEO of GIADEC. GIADEC is the organization that's going to oversee this massive bauxite for infrastructure project that Dr. Bawumia has been making a lot of comments about. He's in the person of Micheal Ansah. He's my guest. I hope you've enjoyed Nathan. We'll take a short break. This is the point of view. He has more filler, but we just want him to rest for now. Tune into the City Breakfast Show tomorrow. He has more. When you mention the page, he knows what is there. Anyway, so thank you, Nathan. He will do the same when the NDC launches their manifesto on Monday. So thank you. We'll be back with more. We are going to ask the NPP, how are you going to pay for all these interesting things you want to do within the constraints of our budget? Stay with us.
Morning. I just sent you Airtel to go money from my new number. We delivered 2 healthy kids last night. Congrats. Have you heard? Kwesi has
2 kids. Have you heard?
My son has 2 kids. Abazi. No. Now your sister almost 7. Have you heard the news about the missing chicken?
Have you heard? Get free calls and free Airtel Tigo money transfers for 6 months on new Airtel Tigo SIMs. Get a SIM.
'Cause I'm the new best thing. I'm the new best thing. Better than you've ever seen. I'm the new best thing. I'm gonna be the king. I bring that ching ching ching. Yeah, I'm the new best thing. I'm the new best thing.
Discover new Silky Guinness Smooth. Perfectly balanced for a smooth, refreshing taste. New Guinness Smooth.
Welcome back to The Point of View. If you want more of Nathan, tune in on the 1st of September. The Voters' Diary will be starting big time on City, and he'll be one of our main analysts. Vivian Kaloko will be hosting that program. It's from 3 to 4 every weekday. It's going to be fantastic. He has all kinds of filler he'll be releasing, and I'll be on that show as well as a panelist. My guest now is Micheal Ansah. Micheal is the former NPP party chair for the UK. He's now running the Ghana Integrated Aluminium Development Corporation, GIADEC. It's a very important organization in Ghana. He's an NPP man, full one. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Ben.
Great to have you.
Pleasure to be here.
So, GIADEC is the body that delivers or oversees what the bauxite deal is about, right? Is that what's just for,
yes,
for layman understanding?
Yeah, I think very interesting listening to the earlier portion of your program.
You like
if I may,
yes.
And if I may, I just want to comment that Ghanaians have seen what the government under His Excellency President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has delivered in barely 3.5 years or so.
Yeah.
And the results also are there for everyone to see. This is a government that promised things that at some point people thought was impossible to deliver, such as the free SHS, such as delivering jobs. Some 2 million jobs or so have been created. And really, improving the lot of Ghanaians. So we've moved a long way from where we were in 2016 to where we are today.
Okay.
And the document that you have, which you were referring to earlier, which is our manifesto for the 2020 election, the title itself is very important. It's Leadership in Service. This is a government that believes in service to a people. This is a government that believes very people-focused, very people-oriented. The kind of social policies and things that this government has run has improved the lot of ordinary Ghanaians. It's a government that wants to deliver opportunity for all and equality of opportunity in that sense. So this is about protecting our progress. This is about transforming Ghana for all people. Then coming to GIADEC, GIADEC, as in Ghana Integrated Aluminium Development Corporation, is an entity that has been set up, was an act of parliament in 2018. We've been operating since 2019, and we're focused on developing the full value chain of the integrated aluminium industry, bauxite mining, alumina refinery, and also aluminium smelting, which we've had in Ghana since about 67 or so. But the president has also been talking of a Ghana beyond aid. And this is a government that has dared to dream big, a Ghana that has dared to put Ghana back on the road of recovery, and a government that is positioning Ghana for growth and real development. And GIADEC essentially gives credence to the president's vision of a Ghana beyond aid. And what we're doing is developing this in the context of transformation, industrial transformation that will bring real wealth to Ghana.
Is he right when he points out that even though this manifesto is of the same size as the previous one, only 40 pages of this is dedicated to promises? The larger part, 152 pages, are dedicated to reporting on things done, or like a progress report. Was that deliberate?
I think it's important to note that this is a government that also believes in accountability, being accountable to the people of Ghana. Ghanaians entrusted the governance of this nation to NPP, and since 7th of January 2017, the government has been doing just that. So at this time when we're coming to an election, it's important that we lay the scorecard before the people of Ghana. So the first part of this manifesto is about accounting for our stewardship. This is holding ourselves accountable for the things that we said we will do. Over 80% of the promises made in the 2016 manifesto have been delivered, and that's a point of record, something that you can check for yourself. We've also very much boldly put all projects, infrastructure projects that have been delivered by this government in a delivery tracker that everyone can go to look at, regardless of where you're at. We put this in the hands of people, as in on your mobile phones, on tablets, on whichever platform you choose to use. So people can look at this and see that this government deliver what it said it will. Then the second part of the manifesto is about consolidating our progress. And that is, we've achieved some great things. We've started some great things. We've got to first of all consolidate this and drive this to fullness in terms of delivery. And the third part, if you talk about promises, is about our plan for accelerated growth. There is real potential for this nation to grow and to deepen our status as a middle-income country, and to grow beyond that, to create more jobs, to create more opportunity, and to educate the masses of our people, which free education, for instance, is giving, and to make this a far more competitive country. So this government is very pro-people, and the three sections of the manifesto speak to that. So the promises that you talk about, 40 pages or not, are clear statements of things that we want to do that will consolidate the progress we've made, but also propel this country for more significant development in our accelerated growth plan.
Your 2016 manifesto tracker says you have 388 promises in total. And then you say you have delivered and are delivering 303.
I said over, yeah.
And then 85 are pending. How does delivered and delivering fall in the same category?
Well, you've used those words.
No,
not mine.
No, those are your words. No, those are your words.
No, that's fine.
Yeah,
so when you say delivered and delivering,
yes. The question is why have you put continuous tense and past tense in the same sentence, in the same categorization?
Yeah, totally understandable. I mean, what we're doing is that we've delivered some. Yes. We are delivering others. If you look at the infrastructure tracker, for instance, there are projects that have been delivered. There are projects that are ongoing. And if you in totality, we're talking in the region of about 17,000 projects in all. So of course, there's some that are still ongoing. This is not, something that you can stop and say, this is everything you've done and this is what you're starting. It's a continuous project process. And there are some projects, of course, that are ongoing.
But to the extent that you are reporting on what you've done, wouldn't it have been better to separate what you finished? Because when it came to the projects, you see, for the projects, you clearly distinguish between ongoing and completed.
Correct.
But when it came to the promise, you said you put delivered and delivering together.
Yeah.
Which is what I don't understand.
No, I think that's clearly explainable. I mean, what we've delivered, we have delivered. There are also projects and programs that are ongoing. So, for instance, integrated aluminium industry, we've started, we're on the road to delivering it. It's a multi-year, multi-billion-dollar investment program that is going to take time to do. So the fact that it's been started itself is pointing in the right direction, and we'll continue to do that and to deliver that and to deepen that. So there are certain projects that are in that frame. If you take one district, one factory.
Pending will mean, so 1D1F will be delivering.
Yes, we're delivering.
Not delivered.
No, we're delivering because we've said.
But free SHS is what?
Free SHS has been delivered, without question. It's been delivered. We're implementing it. Students are in school. They are experiencing it. There's real cash in the pockets of parents, and they are laying clear testimony to the impact of free SHS. So
free SHS is delivered.
So it's been delivered.
1D1F is delivering.
When I say delivering, what I mean is we set our stall to do one district in every.
One factory
in every district.
Yes.
And that has been is being delivered. So as we speak, there are some factories that have been delivered. There are new ones. There are existing ones that have been revamped, and there'll be more that will be delivered.
And so pending will mean what?
Pending. I beg your pardon?
Pending. So on the tracker, there's pending. That means you haven't started at all.
Well, yes.
You haven't started at all.
If you take the literal meaning of the word.
So 85 out of 388 pending.
Yeah.
And then a mix of delivered and delivering 303.
Correct.
Great. What's the big thing in this manifesto? I'm asking because in 2016 it was pretty clear to the public that free SHS was your big one.
Yeah.
I didn't seem to get a big one in this one. Why?
Okay, I think we have to again sort of rewind and take stock of where we're at. This is a government that in this short period of time, inherited a very poor situation in terms of a declining economic growth, in terms of lack of jobs, and an economy that was totally on its knees. Now we are in a place where we can look back and say we've stabilized the economy, we've eliminated and reduced, bureaucracy, number of taxes in the system. We've doubled economic growth pre-COVID, significantly from something like 3.8% to today to what was 6 to 7 and 8%, amongst the highest growing economies in the world. We've created over 2 million jobs. We've passed legislation to support key things like anti-corruption, etc. And we've improved access to services through rapid digitization. So a lot of things are happening which speak to what this government wants to do, which is transformational. Now, when you talk about the big ideas, you mentioned digitization a moment ago. This world today, we are in a period where we're living in what people have called the fourth industrial revolution. What does the fourth industrial revolution mean? It's about digitization, it's about digital transformation, it's about IT transformation, it's about workplace transformation. I mean, today, in the advent of COVID, people are working from home. Many major corporations of the world have closed their offices and people are working from home. So we're living in a world today where digital advancement is not something that is a luxury, it is something that is a necessity. And what this government
are you saying that your big idea in this manifesto is digital transformation?
It is
that
one.
what you're saying?
It is one. The other thing we're doing, obviously, is around industrial transformation. And the government has put out, again, a stall around what we're doing, around, beyond 1D, 1F. We've mentioned everything we want to do in the investment in the bauxite aluminium industry, what we're doing in the iron and steel industry, developing integrated industries that will ensure that there are clear linkages in everything that we do. So the big idea here, if you look at infrastructure, look at railways, look at port expansion, look at all the infrastructure that we need to attract investment into some of these big areas we're talking about. So the integrated aluminium industry, for instance, is not just speaking to bauxite mining, it's speaking to establishing a refinery. It's speaking to revamping Valco, a smelter which we've had for since 1967 or so. So we're talking about an end-to-end rethinking of industrial transformation in a way that will create better paying jobs, in a way that will make a huge contribution to GDP, in a way that will bring real transformation and development to this nation. So these are big things. These are transformational things. These are things that will position Ghana amongst the leaders, certainly in Africa. And what we're doing here, take for instance, recently the president inaugurated the opening of the offices for the Africa Free Trade Area. Okay, now this is a massive secretariat that today is located in Ghana. What do we do as a people to take advantage of a facility like this, a free trade area across Africa, which has over 1.2 billion people and a GDP of well over $2.5 to $3 trillion. So this is at our doorstep. This is a market that's at our doorstep.
Okay.
The things that NPP is doing today is to create the industries for tomorrow that will feed this market and that will lead to growth and expansion of our economy.
So you've mentioned data transformation and you've mentioned industrial transformation and you've given an example in the mining sector. Now, some would say that one of the sectors that you start with if you want to industrialize should be a sector that employs a lot of people, which is agriculture. Have you heard anything about agricultural industrialization? We import a lot of finished food. And we are, so what's I didn't hear you. Is that part of your big transformation agenda?
It is. So basically, when we talk about agriculture, we're not just talking about where we are today, but we're talking about the transformation in that whole sector. We're talking about investments that will go to improve the quality of what we produce, and also make sure that we can, build the facilities that we need to support the industrialization of agriculture, if I can put it that way. So we're creating more jobs in that way. We're adding value to our products. We're producing more for export,
which products are you targeting
in terms of
agro processing stroke industrialization?
Well, GEPA, for instance, is supporting a whole number of areas, non-traditional.
But usually, GEPA exports these things raw. It's pineapple raw, blue skies.
Yes.
They export mangoes.
Yeah.
But you're talking about agro processing.
Yes.
Because, mining is an enclave sector. We've been mining for decades. The number of people employed in mining, you can't compare that to the number of people employed in agriculture.
Yeah.
So if you want to transform an economy in a way that lifts a lot of people out of poverty, the theory tells you agric is the way to go.
Absolutely. And this nation, agric has always been one of our mainstays. And this government is placing agriculture first in terms of the things that we're looking to do. But we're looking to mechanize agriculture. We're looking to improve productivity in agriculture. We're looking to make sure that the agriculture we do lifts our people out of poverty. It allows us to export more. It allows us to, when I say export, we export non-traditional products and also bring processing to the fore, which allows us to improve the quality and the value of the products that we produce. So the agriculture we're talking about here is one that puts more money in the pockets of our farmers, one that makes our farmers, move into a mechanized era and makes them produce products that is market ready, which will attract higher value on the markets.
There's a view that the Sino-Hydro deal, which your organization will help deliver, sacrifices long-term spending for short-term infrastructure needs. So, for example, the $2 billion that in projects that we'll get, the number of years that the foreign partner will get access to our bauxite or aluminium is much, much longer.
Yeah.
Some of the money is being used to do inner city roads. Some of the money is being used to tar roads.
Yeah.
Some people feel you are eating today at the expense of a long-term future. Can you debunk that? Is that what's your comment?
I think that's not the right analysis at all. So if you look at what we're doing in GIADEC, first of all, let's recognize that the whole idea of leveraging our raw materials, or rather our bauxite in this instance, for development in terms of infrastructure development is a novel idea. It's an innovative idea. It's a way in which we can use our raw materials in this way to raise funding to fund infrastructure that we need today. This country has a huge infrastructure gap, okay? And we've got to look at ways in which we can raise funding to fund such massive infrastructure development. That's the first thing that we should recognize. The second thing is that if you read the small print of the Sino-Hydro project, it's all about using the proceeds from mining bauxite, but not just mining bauxite, the proceeds from selling refined bauxite, which is alumina, and even further downstream to aluminium, selling these things, raising money to pay for that facility that we're raising. Okay. Today we've signed the first phase of it. It's gone through Parliament. That's what's approved. That's in the region of about $640 million or so. The first part of phase 1 has commenced, including projects like the Tamale interchange, and the other 6 lots will continue as we speak. But the key thing here is that this government is raising money for, first of all, infrastructure in this instance, but also investing in a productive sector of our economy in a way where we're not just going to be mining bauxite for export, but we're going to be mining bauxite to refine in Ghana and to ensure that we can use this to drive development. So it's going to lead to your point, it's going to lead to creation of better jobs, employment of more skilled labor. It's going to impact the mining communities that we're talking about. So whether it's in Ginehin or Awaso or Chebi or those places, we're going to be improving the lot of people there in terms of the jobs that will be created, the quality of jobs that will be created, and the development that this will bring to the nation as a whole.
The IMF in the 2019 report warned of further debt risks given the amount of investment required to refine bauxite and the possibility that even with such investment, the actual return on development of bauxite could lag. Then they say, based on their understanding, Ghana is required to set up an offshore escrow account for revenue generated from selling the bauxite. This is what they say, quote, committing future bauxite receivables to debt service and locking bauxite sales receipts in the escrow account limits the government of Ghana's ability to exercise discretion of how the proceeds are allocated. So they're basically saying you are making a 15-year decision today, and if circumstances change, you're already locked in, you can't change. This is what the IMF is saying.
I think what they also did not say is the, if you like, the backstop that we have in that agreement. Okay, and the thing here is, that's an opinion that's been expressed.
What does the backstop do?
No, so let me come to that. So there's an opinion that's been expressed in terms of, how they interpret the agreement. But the other side of it is that we're taking bets today. We're saying that we're going to be setting up an organization that's going to help to deliver so we can meet our obligations under this. As we said, the reality on the ground is that we're delivering the first phase of the project. This is a multi-year program. If you look at, you probably will not want to walk through all those details, but I look at the projections in terms of cash flows against this, etc. Of course, that's based on a plan that we are implementing. And we want to make sure that we're responsible in working this plan, delivering this plan, and using the proceeds from this to make these payments. So we're being thoughtful about it, and trust me, we're being thoughtful about the process, and we're managing the risks appropriately. So it's something which I don't have any doubt on in terms of how we're going to deliver this in a really coherent way.
This is the point of view. We're talking to one of NPP's brains on a key strategic anchor, they call it. It's really the way they want to go in raising revenue. As you know, Ghana's resources internally are not enough to bring all the development we want. And they are thinking of new ways of funding the infrastructure development, but there are questions around the methods they are using. We'll discuss that when we come back. Where are they going to get the money for the 111 hospitals, for example? That's the question that's going to come. Are they going to tax you more? Are they going to borrow more? What's the consequence for the future of our economy? This is the point of view. Stay with us.
The Samsung Blue Tax Sale, our biggest sale of the year. Get unbeatable deals on selected products. Buy the Galaxy S20 Plus or Ultra and get discount voucher plus 2.5 gigabyte data bundle. Buy the Galaxy Z Flip and get free Galaxy Buds Plus, and buy selected Galaxy A series device and get free gift bags. Buy 8K QLED and get up to 25% discount. Buy refrigerators or air conditioners and get free small appliance and free installation on AC. Buy a washing machine and get free detergent. The biggest sale of the year.
'Cause I'm the new best thing. I'm the new best thing. Better than you've ever seen. I'm the new best thing. I'm gonna be the king. I bring that ching ching ching. Yeah, I'm the new best thing. I'm the new best thing.
Discover new Silky Guinness Smooth. Perfectly balanced for a smooth, refreshing taste. New Guinness Smooth.
Welcome back to the point of view. We started off by walking you through highlights of the NPP Manifesto launched over the weekend. It's a huge document. Nathan Kwa was here with me earlier to do that. I now have in the studio Micheal Ansah, CEO of GIADEC, former NPP UK chairman. He's now in Ghana, running one of the key projects of government. Now, the list of roads, I remember on the City Breakfast Show we discussed this, the list of roads under Sino-Hydro are many. I'm telling you, there's just phase 1, 84 kilometers of road in Accra inner city, 100 kilometers Kumasi, Tamale Interchange Project, PTC roundabout, Takrady, 14 kilometer, Adenta Dodowa dual carriageway. I don't know if they started. And there are a lot. It seems to me as if the government's infrastructure plan, financing it, you want to leverage expected proceeds from whether it's gold or bauxite or whatever. That seems to be the thinking. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is that because taxes domestically will not do that? We say Ghana beyond aid. So the amount of money we receive from our development partners is going to be very limited. It seems as if the Chinese are the biggest game in town and they are interested in our raw materials. So this is the government's way of raising money to fund. Am I correct?
I think that is a way of putting it, but we have to look at what is actually being delivered. What we're looking at here are innovative ways of raising funding to fund infrastructure projects, to fund things that we need today to drive development. What we're looking to do is to invest in areas of our economy that will remove constraints, that will drive growth, that will drive development. So we're not investing, we're not borrowing or raising money for consumption, we're raising money for investment. Very big difference there. Secondly, the methods we're using are innovative methods. They're methods that ensure that we are not piling risk on the people of Ghana, that we're doing things in a way which our partners can look at the proposition we're putting before them and make real decisions. So if you take, be it Sino-Hydro or Sino-Shore or any of the groups that have been involved in the Sino-Hydro project, they have looked very hard at what we're talking about. And they've looked at it, they've looked at the numbers, they've looked at everything to do with our capacity to implement and deliver on this. And they've signed on the dotted line. So clearly, these things have credence with the partners that we're talking to. When you talk about, you mentioned things around royalties and things like that being leveraged for projects and things. Again, this is an innovative way of looking at how we can raise funding for things that we need today. Okay, in that case,
but who determines the things we need today? Because if we have 10 million from royalties, a certain percentage goes to chiefs. We know that. So the rest belongs to the government.
Yeah.
Government decides to use that as some sort of, I don't want to call it a guarantee, to access money from the capital markets for certain projects. Now, there's something they call intergenerational equity as well.
Yeah.
So I'm sure my kids are hoping that the expected revenues from mining can do certain things for them. If a government decides today, a few months to an election, to build X number of roads, how do you convince you and our kids that decision was in their best interest?
Well, so what we're doing is we're building this nation for the long term. We're making investments that will be here to pay for all these things that we're talking about. We're making investments in things that will generate future incomes. Okay, and that is the business case for a number of these things that are being implemented. So for future generations, we're talking about an economy that will expand, an economy that will grow, an economy that will create jobs, an economy that will improve the welfare of people. And when you build such an economy and you grow the economy, it is in that growth, it's in the process of that growth that we're sharing. Okay, so what we're doing now is making sure that we put the investments in the right areas, we put we make the right bets. So whether it's in bauxite and aluminium, as you're talking about, or in iron and steel development, or it's in other facets around agriculture, industrialization, etc. I mean, providing the social infrastructure that our people need, we have to make those investments today.
But you admit that you lock the country into using the revenues in a particular way now. COVID teaches us that your country's priorities can change very rapidly.
Yes.
In the budget we read for 2020, the health allocation was very low. By March, COVID taught us that all of us in the world, our prioritization was wrong.
Yes.
So if you lock a significant amount of resources into one or two areas, knowing that the only certainty in life is change, aren't you risking our future? I think that's the question.
Well, you mentioned COVID as an example, and here, we have to really give credit where it's due. The management of this pandemic in Ghana has been exemplary. It's been globally acclaimed as one of the better ways in which this pandemic has been managed. And the government has made also some significant investments or significant call-outs in how to support small, medium enterprises, how to support big industrial companies in Ghana, etc., all to make sure that this pandemic, the impact of this pandemic can be managed in a controlled way. Okay, so what we're looking at here is a government that thinks about the future and a government that dares to, if like, dream and think.
But my argument is that we don't know that future. COVID has thrown your budget out of gear.
Yeah.
Your budget deficit plan for the end of year was below 5%. Now it's going to be around 11%.
Yes.
So COVID has humbled all of us, which is why the question is, why are you making plans for things now, 3 months to an election, that could lock us into making payments for the next 10 years? When you have admitted that COVID was something we all did not see, who knows when the next COVID is coming? And who knows what that will mean for our revenue priorities, our allocation priorities?
Yeah. But that's the reason why we've got to plan ahead. That's the reason why we have to plan for, what we know and what we do not know. Because, COVID, nobody saw COVID coming, okay?
Which is why you must allow flexibility.
Yes.
By what you are doing, you are locking yourself in.
No, but look at how the government has reacted to COVID, okay? The way the government has reacted has shown significant flexibility. It's shown the ability of the government to be able to think on its feet and to deliver in this situation and address real problems that face the people of Ghana.
Let me read some comments for you. Quick one. Bernard, ask your guest what happens to NAPCO after December 7, 2020. Peter from Koforidua. Wow, Nathan, Kwao surprised me with his in-depth analysis on politics and not sports. Kudos, shows the versatility of CCTV. Nathaniel from Bawi says, obviously, a chunk of these promises in the manifesto are just mere rhetoric. Ghanaians would appreciate it if we educated a bit with respect to what has been achieved so far in the previous manifesto. Nathaniel, 75% of this is about what they've achieved. So it's only 25% as on what they want to do. If I'm mistaken, he would have corrected me. Good evening, Bernard. In actual fact, President Mahama had only 3 years to put up these huge projects because his first term was bedeviled with the court suit by NPP 2013. The NPP manifesto has nothing to offer Ghanaians. Bring back Mahama. Bernard, good evening. I salute you for the good work. Please keep questioning the politicians for our betterment. I'm Abbas Saki from Boga. There's a very long one that I can't read. I don't have the time. Bernard, if indeed 2 million jobs were created, how come the unemployment rate seems to be inching up and not down? Please ask your guest. Unemployment, quickly. Mr. Mahama says Okada has generated more jobs than all government programs, including NAPCO and YE. What's your comment on that?
Well, that's a statement that was made, and I think, people like you will want to drill down the numbers and see whether he's correct or not. So I won't comment on that.
But in terms of your job creation credentials, I mean, I'm not sure if you are able to. People say the NAPCO is not sustainable, and there's a lot of youth unemployment still, irrespective of all your claims about 2 million jobs created.
Yeah, we've created real jobs in the formal sector. First of all, we have to recognize that those jobs exist today. There are people who are in those jobs. So that is the reality. Going forward, NAPCO is an initiative that we started. It's an initiative that government will continue, okay? And there are other areas that we're going to create even more jobs. So the focus on jobs is essential. It's something that we'll continue to do and will continue to drive. And as we move forward and we drive on a lot of these developments that we're talking about, whether it's in agriculture, it's in industrialization, it's in health, education, etc., all of these have a job component, okay? And we're creating real jobs for real people in
What
Ghana.
percentage of the projects under the Sino-Hydro project will be delivered by locals?
Well, good question. So these projects have commenced.
We are told it's 30%.
Yes. So
is that enough?
That's a start.
We know that Tamale Stadium, the Chinese brought laborers to come and do it. If you have only 30% of projects delivered by locals, that means you are essentially 70% of the jobs will go to Chinese. Laborers.
I think that's wrong.
But that's it. But
No,
30%.
So you talk about 30%
of the projects
as the start of local content, right?
Yes.
And I'm saying that there will be more. That's the start. That's the
for the first part.
No, that's the start. Okay, so we're going to see more local content, more Ghanaian companies involved in executing.
What percentage?
As it continues to deliver.
By when?
It will be more than 30%. I can't give you an absolute number.
Unemployment is the biggest problem as a government.
And that's why I'm saying that
local content, more than 30.
Local content will be significantly more than 30%. So that is.
You are promising me this.
We're working.
Tina from Amprobi has a final word. Good evening, Bernard. Tell your guest we want to own a house, not to rent one.
Yeah.
I'm sure this
is that's a laudable aspiration. This is a party that believes in people creating wealth for all. And of course, the end game is not about renting houses. It's about
So Tina can own a house?
Well, it's about making it possible for people to have a roof over their heads. Owning a house is the ultimate, and that is something that we're driving towards.
I wish you well in your job. Micheal Ansah is the CEO of GIADEC. I say it's a strategic anchor company. Former NPP chairman for UK. He's in Ghana now delivering a project for the government. We wish him well in that project. Earlier on, I had Nathan Kwao, our head of research, going through the numbers. There's a lot more research in the course of the week. Don't forget, 1st September, we have the voters there. It's going to be explosive. Stay with CCTV. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.